everyone. Welcome to the Light Gate. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Roku, Facebook, YouTube, and many other different platforms. We have a huge audience worldwide on the radio as well as visual. So if we put something up for you to see, we will describe it to those of you who can't. Tonight is open mic night, and I would love it for everybody to just a lot of questions. Use caps, we can see them properly, and we're going to go. Hi, Preston.
Hi, Dolly. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran, and yes, it is open mic night. We were going to have a guest, but he wasn't able to make it, so we figured, you know what? Let's just do open mic night. It's always fun, rather than scrabbling to find a guest. But we have some great ones lined up, I have to tell you. We really do. So yeah, we're just going to have fun tonight with open mic night. I think this is episode 55, so we're trucking right along. And before I get to the actual show, you know how much I love to say hi to you all, because again, it's because of you we're doing this show. We're having so much fun. So let's just see who we have joining us tonight. Let's see. We have Two Jacks. Hello, Two Jacks. Dolly's running away, taking the kitty. Okay. And who else do we got? Brian Morgan and Frag G. Hello, Rat Food. Yes, it has been a while since we did a QA, so we're going to have lots of fun. Hello, Vicky. Thank you so much for all the love. Sending it right back to you. Ooh, I'm going to put a little star in your question right below that, because that is a good question. Hello, Hector. And Blind Psychonaut. I like that moniker. Very cool. Hello, Bim Jim. And Janice Comet. We have a nice big crowd. This is awesome. You guys are so awesome. Let's see, who else do we got? Dawn Curtis. Hello. Hope you're doing well. And Amadeus Schiffer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sunny Burnett. And Dolly Safran is here, as you can see. Namaste. And Jacques Dion. Hope you're doing well, Jacques. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just can't thank you enough for your ongoing, endless goodwill and generosity. I'm truly thankful. Much gratitude to you, my friend. It makes a big difference. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I'm so excited. Let's see, who else do we have? John Williams. I'm here for it. Are we calling in? We're not quite set up. I like that idea. You know, maybe I'll figure out a way to do that.
Our producer has to come up with a plan. They haven't done it yet.
But for now, we can only do write-in questions. But, you know, I was thinking about sending out links and bringing people on for short little periods of time so they can share their story and do a kind of different type of open mic night. I'll have to talk to our producer about that. But that sounds like it might be fun. All right, Catherine Four Feathers, hello, and Olivia and Finn. Yeah, we are moving right along. It's been over a year. Dolly, I blame her for convincing me to do this show. We had the opportunity, and she's like, we should do it. And I'm like, I don't know. This is going to be a lot of work. But I'm so glad that I did say yes, because it turns out it is, a lot of work, but even more fun. So we're really having a good time with it, I think. I know I am. What about you, Dolly?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Star Orchid, happy Monday. What else do we got going on here? I may have already put you up, Dana Matthews, but
not yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear your poor pet. No, we all go through this. It's very, very difficult. Thank God there is life after death. We're all eternal beings. Doesn't make it a whole lot easier, but it is the truth. So my blessings to you, Dana. Hello, Louise.
Hi, Louise.
W. Decker. with another wonderful
Thank you.
donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci beaucoup and muchos gracias. I can say thank you in 3 languages. So,
Toximica.
oh, taxamika for Swedish. Good one, Dolly. Hello, John. Thank you very much. Michael Kennedy with the popcorn. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Say hello to you know who.
Yeah. Hugs.
Aussie Jen, hello, and Sukhoi 29K. I better not get in trouble. Hi, Simon. I need to talk to you via email about an important issue, but glad to see you here. It's the latest video. I think there's a sound problem. I'll just tell you right now.
Yeah, no sound.
Okay, who else do we got here? Susan Aloe. Hi, lovely Susan. Always a wonderful blessing to see you here. All my love to you. Hope you're enjoying yourself surrounded by forest. I know I am. And Michael Kennedy sending his love. Thank you, Michael. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. Yes, there is Bigfoot all across the United States. I love Bigfoot. I think they're very cool. I had my own encounter. So thank you, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, for joining us, and Derek Mulligan, and Janice Connett, and Audrey Miller. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get in trouble, Dolly. Just a few more. Werder Bremen, thank you for joining us. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you've watched all the videos. That's very cool, because I put out like, I don't even know, 200 of them.
There are a lot.
Jenny Feniello, and Octopus with No Friends. And Kayleen Winmither White is hi from Australia.
Hello, mate.
And a huge happy birthday to Octopus with No Friends.
Oh, happy birthday.
Congratulations on another solar revolution. Very cool. Steve Boucher, former guest and contactee. Steve, so awesome to hear from you.
Hi.
Your show is super popular, by the way. Still getting comments on it. Awesome, awesome, awesome to see you here. And then grandmother, hello from UK. Ooh, staying up late.
Mm-hmm.
I am so honored. And Pogo Joe and Allison Carr. And let me see, I better just get going here because we could say hello forever. Hello, Jenny Lynn and Gizmo. And I'm starting these questions as I go by. Derek Mulligan and Scarlet Fire and Josephine McKinnon and Yoga with Denise. Okay, you know what? I am going to get in trouble because this is going faster than I can keep up with. So, Audrey Miller and one more. Raynal Omnicide. So, I'm glad you could join us. Very cool. Sounds synchronistic. All right. So, yes, we are doing an open mic night. So, let me just tell you a little bit about our guests. One is me. And of course, you guys are our guests for real. But yeah, right. Let me tell you a little bit quickly about myself. I got involved in this field at age 21. That's more than 35 years ago, 1986. Gosh, it's like 38 years ago now. Holy smokes. So yeah, I got involved in this field pretty young when I found out my brother had seen a UFO. Turned out so had my sister-in-law. 2 sister-in-laws saw ETs. At least 2 or 3 friends had very close-up sightings. One involving missing time. At least 3 people at work had seen UFOs. One whose daughter saw grays. Another who had missing time. So that's how I got involved. I joined MUFON within a year. Became a field investigator. Started interviewing people. Wrote articles for 10 years before I put out my first book, UFO Healings, and really never looked back from then. And Dolly Safran has had a really impressive resume. She's a fully conscious contactee. Ever since age 14, she became fully conscious, but had contact from birth pretty much. But has worked as a limo driver, an assistant manager at a Wendy's. That's cool. Zookeeper, bus driver, security guard, nurse, and more, including a civilian worker for the U.S. Department of Treasury and also in the Army as an employee for the U.S. Department of Defense. And she is, of course, the subject of my book, Symmetry, which is still doing well, by the way, still bouncing around in the top seller list. And here's a little scoop. We are working on a sequel, just doing the interviews right now when we get a chance, because I'm so darn busy these days. But yeah, a sequel is coming, and it's going to have some amazing, explosive information in it that certainly the first one didn't. All right, anything else you want to add about your bio, Dolly?
Nope. It's good enough.
Okay. Yeah, it's open mic night, so we've got, well, an hour and 45 minutes now to answer all your questions. I'm going to do my best to keep up with them. So thank you for putting them in caps. We've already got like 15 or 20 ready to go. But I just want to start with a couple of statements because, you know, my YouTube channel is blowing up. It's so awesome. I got a lot of new people in there, and it looks like we got a lot of new people joining us tonight. Already a bunch of you in here in chat. So I just want to say a couple of words about one, evidence. I'm getting a lot of comments like, where's the evidence for all these stories you're telling? These are just stories, they're anecdotal. It's true, some of them are anecdotal, but observation is the foundation of science. When people have an experience, this is the foundation of knowledge. It's how we learn. And it's just not true that there isn't evidence for UFOs. And I just want to reiterate this because I know a lot of you already know this, but there's mountains of evidence, and it comes in many forms. It's not just eyewitness testimony. There are, of course, radar return cases where UFOs are caught on radar and visually at the same time. There's also landing trace cases, several thousand of them. And this is very good evidence. It's hard to explain any other way because the ground in some of these cases is glassified, heated to several thousand degrees. And they can tell that an object of many thousands of pounds landed perhaps on railroad ties or in soft earth. Landing trace is great evidence. There's also, of course, medical evidence, including both injuries and healings. Healings are far more common. The injuries seem to be largely accidental. The most common is, of course, some sort of light sensitivity, an after image on your retina, perhaps. That's somewhat common. But healings across the board, more than 300 documented cases. It's great evidence, but there's also electromagnetic disturbances. These objects do affect all kinds of electromagnetic instruments, from car engines to televisions to radios to you name it. It's another form of evidence. There's animal reaction evidence. There's something called angel hair. If you haven't heard of that, it's a sort of spider-webby, cotton candy-like substance, which is a byproduct of the superheated plasma fields surrounding these objects with our atmosphere. And it puts down this interesting substance, which has been gathered and studied in a scientific laboratory, and it's not naturally occurring. This is good evidence. My point is there is evidence. There's implant removal evidence. There's all kinds of evidence. So I just want to reiterate that for those who are new to this field. The only reason people are really skeptical at all is because there is a cover-up that's very well funded, very carefully orchestrated. A lot of time, money, and effort is being put forth to suppress UFO evidence. All right, I'm off my rant, but I just wanted to say that. You have anything else you want to start with, Dolly?
I just want to go over the fact that the last week, Earth has been experiencing multiple CMEs, solar winds. The aurora borealis have gone all the way down to Florida, Miami, as well as northern Florida. They've been potent in that our magnetosphere is not operating as it should, and they're not that high on the KP scale. KP 6, 7, 8 are not high enough to have a kill shot event. But now our magnetosphere is way down, and we are starting to experience the beginnings of what could become a kill shot. And our sun is not done. We are now in major solar maximum. We're in the middle of the electromagnetic current sheet sluicing through us right now. And everybody needs to buckle up because the weather, everything, you need to keep your eyes on what's going on and listen for information, because it can affect all your systems, your electricity. It could cause fires in the wires in your house or in your yard. It can do all kinds of things. And these are things that ET has warned about, and so have I. And you need to pay attention now. It's important. And that's it. We'll go from there. How's that? Okay.
All right. Well, then let's get started. And yeah, guys, please feel free to ask us anything. I would ask that we not get political. I would ask also that people be very kind in chat, because if it gets mean or nasty, we will have to boot you out, because this is a safe place for people to share their stories. And we certainly want to entertain different points of view, but everyone just needs to be respectful. So thank you very much for honoring that. And
Let's
again,
go.
feel free to ask us anything, whether it's about UFOs or ghosts or out-of-body experiences or paranormal or life after death or Bigfoot, because I've honestly studied all of these, and Dolly has experienced far more than most contactees. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say her case is the most extensive that I've ever interviewed. All right, well, let's just get going. And let's see what we got here. And the first question comes from Sunny Burnett. And you just mentioned it, Dolly. What does Dolly think of the recent CMEs this week?
They have caused a worldwide catastrophe in weather, flooding, electricity, knocking systems down. I've seen whole areas go out with no Wi-Fi, no internet, cable, stuff like that. I personally know several people who had fires in their yards from wires in their yards. One of them almost burned down a house. It is disrupting all forms of communication and different applications, for companies and businesses. They've experienced a lot of static from this. It also has caused, if you were to pay attention, more heart attacks, more people going a little bit upset, causes mental aggravation, things like that. If you've been sick, you might have felt even sicker or dizzy from it. And so these things are happening. And the KP scale right now is not that high, but it is affecting us more because our magnetosphere is down almost 40%. Any more than that, and we have a KP10, and that could be the kill shot. And everybody kind of needs to start preparing to be without electricity. You need to start thinking in your lives about what it is that you're most concerned about surviving something like this. And you need to get a notebook, write it down, start looking up information about what you might need to do for yourselves. There's all kinds of resources out there. I can send stuff out on the internet for people, to get you more interested in this, because it's not if it's going to happen, it's when and how soon. So, okay, that's it.
Yeah, well, I think it's significant. I just want to add that this is something Dolly has been talking about for a very long time. And certainly other contactees have been given this information as well. And it's becoming front page news. This is the real deal, folks.
Ignore it.
It's good to be aware of it. I'm so glad that we are all eternal, immortal beings.
Yeah.
So I don't think being fearful is going to solve anything. It's an interesting time to be alive on Earth. That's the way I look at it.
Fun while you're getting ready for this. Let's put it that way.
And if the grid goes down, so be it. It'll be an interesting thing, something we can tell our family about. If we go to the other side, we'll still talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next question. Okay. Hide current comment. And this next one is from Dawn Curtis. As a question for Preston or Dolly. Do you have any suggestions for us for the near future on how to prepare for coming events on Earth? You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, because you know a lot too.
All right. I mean, first of all, leave fear behind. Don't worry. Prepare to the extent you can. I find it super interesting that contactees are often getting this message, whether it's fully consciously or subconsciously, but they're moving off grid in droves. Off grid has become a thing. That is something you can do if you have the resources. But certainly you can collect water and food enough for at least a couple of months the more, the better. Rice and beans are relatively cheap, and you'll be thankful if you have them, because we all know what it's like to find the grocery store shelves empty. So yeah, collect food, water, network with the people in your neighborhood, and just be ready. Be aware of what's going on around you so that it doesn't take you by surprise. That would be my suggestion.
Right. Just pay attention to the things you would need. Think about what it would be like to be off grid totally, have no backup, anything. And very first thing is water. The second is food, absolutely food. And there's all kinds of food that you can collect that's non-perishable and will last for a long time. And there are companies like For Patriots. You can call them up and you can order survival food from them. If you're on medications, start stockpiling your medications. Stockpile everyday things like aspirin or Tylenol, vitamin C vitamins, things like that, cough syrups, things that you might, bandages, that kind of thing. Make sure that your bedding is good for transport if you have to move out of your house quickly because it might catch fire. If you have tents, collect some tents. Get ready to live outdoors because that could happen to you. Make sure that you do talk to your neighbors. Have meetings with them. Y'all sit down and discuss what you might do to help one another. Safety and health in numbers and survival is a very good thing. People who prep are in numbers. They go into communities of each other. Look for a prepping group. Contact them. Talk to them about what you might need to do. These are all good things for you to think about. Practice 1 day a week, and the weekends maybe, living off grid. Turn all the power off, get your outdoor grilling stuff together, figure out what you would need to just survive for a whole 24 hours with no help, and practice, get good at it. Build yourself an outhouse, things like that. If you have a well, how can you protect the well? If the grid goes down, you need power to run that well. You might want to get the old timey cranky thing, there's all kinds of things. Yeah. If you have a big enough yard, put a pool in it and fill it full of water. There's a water source for you right there. There's a billion things you can do. And there are books out on the internet that you can order, even from Amazon, that'll help you with this. It's very important to know. Get yourself a cranking shortwave radio. Get walkie-talkies and Faraday them. Put them in a Faraday bag to protect them so that you can communicate long range with other people. There's a lot of things that you can do.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Okay, next question comes from Vicky Campbell. Preston or Dolly or both. Do either of you feel you know your past life star family system? Thank you. That's a good question. You want to go first, Dolly?
I know I'm pretty much in understanding of all my past lives. And I wouldn't call them star family. It's just family. All the way across the universe. We're all related and it's just family. And yes, I do remember living off this planet in other parts of the universe in past lives. Not recently. The last 4 of my lives recently were from here, and one not so much. I stayed out of everything for a period of time before I came back again. And it's kind of fun to try to remember things. I'll give you a hint. If you have a proclivity, in other words, a real passion for something that's out of your normal box, your ethnicity, and you just find it fascinating and you just feel like some kind of kinship to it, go into that, because that's a prior life trying to ignite in your memory and get you to remember who you are, what you've lived and how you've been. So, yeah. Okay, you go.
But if you're an alien from another star system and you're craving ooglots or something that you don't that don't exist, that could be. But yeah, seriously, Dolly's right. I've studied past lives, and there are little markers you can see in people if they've got a certain proclivity towards foods or clothes or a place. That's definitely a marker. If you have unusual talents, like you can play music like nobody's business, that could point to a prior life. There's all kinds of clues. Phobias can definitely.
Yeah, those can show up. That's right.
As far as myself, I never really thought about past lives for most of my life, but as a very young kid, I do remember looking up at a used car lot and seeing those little flags that flap in the wind over car lots. And I thought, gosh, that looks familiar to me. And I got this weird feeling, and it kept happening until I finally connected it to a past life, which is like a Tibetan monk or something, because I saw the Himalayan prayer flags on Mount Everest. I'm like, well, that's what I'm remembering. So that was my first taste of a past life. That's here on Earth. And when I had kind of a spiritual awakening in my early 20s, I started having out-of-body experiences. I had a lot of past life recall. I really did, and it was amazing. I have this thing about ships and, shipwrecks. If you look at the bookshelf behind me, there's a whole shelf on just shipwrecks.
He's like the expert. No kidding.
So that turned out to be a past life thing. Yeah. I remember being a priest in several lives. I remember quite a bit of past lives. I remember being in the Holocaust. I remember being, a slave in the Civil War. That was brutal. I remember being a Native American. These are all, memories I retrieved through dreams, lucid dreams, and out-of-body experiences. As far as ET, yes, I do have a feeling of this. I did have one OBE, because what I would do is I'd go out of body and I'd go to the mirror and I'd look at myself, and you can actually see your astral reflection in a mirror. Not always, but you can. And I was able to do this. And sometimes I go there and no, I was not human. I was completely bald and I had big, weird eyes. I was humanoid for sure, but it gave me an eerie feeling of being in another body, another star system. I can't say it's specifically this or that, but I do remember the feeling of it. And boy, it was one of peace and connectivity and just a completely different feeling of belonging and wisdom. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. And I can tell you, this is something a lot of contactees do talk about. One guy I interviewed, his name is Jay Gardner. He recalled being an ET in a past life. That's true for Tony DeTata, who was on our show. We asked him about it. He's like, oh yeah, I kept having this feeling like I was had a different body, which was not humanoid or not human. So this is not uncommon among contactees, but I haven't fully connected to my own past lives as an ET, but I think anyone can do it. So yeah, just meditate, do astral travel, ask for it, and you can absolutely figure it out. Okay, moving along. Oh my goodness. Okay, next question is from Janice Conant. Dolly, you have said that ETs have left for now. Why do people still see UFOs? Are they all ours?
Yes, they are. They are not ET. ET is not even flying drones at this moment. Our sun is popping off, and it's not okay for them to be here in any capacity. They were up to about 6 months ago, but the sun is really in solar maximum now, and they don't want to lose anymore to anything. And so if you see something, it's ours, literally. Point. That's it.
All right. But some could be ET because, some are ET drones, right? I mean,
yeah, but not right now. The sun is in maximum right now. The last 3 months we passed a point of no return 3 months ago. And they're no longer flying anywhere near us for any reason whatsoever. They're not going to take the chance of losing something, have it go wrong, nothing. They're not here. Our magnetosphere is no good. If they came in and the sun did what it's done for the last week, it would have put them right on the ground. So no, they're not here. Period. And it won't happen again now until that stops. So.
Yeah, and the fact is, if you look into the whistleblower reports, we do have reverse engineered ET technology. And I'm looking at many of the contactee reports of people who think they may have seen UFOs and ETs. I'm going to put out an episode in the future.
Yeah, I want you to understand something.
Clearly,
yeah,
humans flying this technology.
Right. SpaceX just put 38 more satellites up from Camp Edwards in California about 5 days ago, just before the first of the solar flares started hitting. And it was further enough away from the kill zone of it so that they could get them up. If you know what the count is above your head, I want you to try to find out because it's astronomically high. Anything you see up there moving around now is a satellite. They have 3 different stages of orbit. Some of them are very low Earth flying orbits, and you're seeing things that you're not used to seeing right now because of it. So, get a telescope, start looking. Okay. And do me a favor. I want everybody, if you're going to put your eye on the sky with a camera, put the camera on a tripod or put it down on a solid object. The more you move around, the more pareidolia you're going to get and think that it's moving. It's not, unless it's a satellite. Put it on a stage or a tripod or something that you've created to hold that camera perfectly still and do wide angle, and then you'll see what's really going on. Okay? It'll give you a better chance of identifying what you're looking at. Okay.
Yep, that's good advice. All right, here is a question from Vicky Campbell. Did you have an opportunity to see the Northern Lights phenomenon recently? I didn't. I'm too far south. My sister-in-law and brother up in Oregon saw it.
We had them in Atlanta. We had overcast. That's why we didn't see it. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway.
I've never seen the Northern Lights, so it's on my bucket list. But
it's supposed to be coming. We got bad weather above us right now. We're not going to get to see it. So,
well, maybe when the CMEs hit, we'll all get to see it. Not Northern Lights, but it'll be something. I mean, if you look up the Carrington event, people were seeing stuff in the sky.
They were seeing aurora borealis and electricity in the sky like crazy. Yep.
Okay, moving along. And here is a next question. It's from Bim Jim. Who will write a dictionary of terms to talk about the paranormal? Please, 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 please. I wish somebody would. I might have to do it because this field, UFOs in particular, is suffering from semantic disaster. I won't use that term UAP. I hate it. I think it's a distraction. I know some people are saying, oh, no, this is, I think you mentioned this. People are using it, Dolly, to describe reverse engineered craft.
That's why the government did it, so they can tell the difference when they're talking to themselves. Yep.
I think it's nonsense.
Yep.
And the term UFO is going to stick. It's not going away. We all know what a UFO means. I think it's synonymous with extraterrestrial craft. Not to say that everything up there is extraterrestrial. I do want to talk a little bit about this because it's driving me nutty.
That which does not want to tell you the truth has to use terminology to conceal the truth from you. And a UAP is concealment of the truth. They don't want you to know that they have back engineered. They're not going to own up to it. Even though we all know about it, they're still not owning up to it. They have lots of secrets and their terminology has changed greatly. The government doesn't tell you anything. They have people who come out as a whistleblower, but they're not official people. And then the government, every time a whistleblower comes out, the government turns right around behind them and denies and denies and denies. It is a fact. Start paying attention. They're never going to tell you the truth. Never. Now, what you might think that will happen is they're going to have a false flag. That's what they're gearing up for. And one of these days, you're going to hear security, okay? International security. We're all in trouble, and they're going to blame ET for it. And they're going to use their equipment, their technology to make you see UFOs in the sky when there are none. So good luck. You need to be up. And yeah, a good book of terminology, a good book of explaining what is and is not real is a good thing to do. I agree 100%.
I like this term from Silent Listen. I'd rather be a ufologist, not a you-apologist. Exactly. Yeah, we do need to find words to better describe all of these phenomena. It's gotten ridiculous. Right. Yes. And just as an aside, because there's a, this is off topic a little bit, but it's something I'm pretty passionate about because I'm getting a lot of people saying, you know what, you're calling these extraterrestrial, you don't know they're extraterrestrial. I think we've got enough evidence to say that, yes, some of this is extraterrestrial. And when you've had your own experience and been on board well, then you know. So I know that there are other theories out there, everything from interdimensional stuff to time travelers to crypto-terrestrials and Jacques Vallée's theory of an intelligence that wears different masks. I get it. I think, honestly, I'd like to ask Jacques Vallée a few questions. Like, where are people when they are being pulled on board and they're not in the room? I'd like to ask him, what about those implants people are having removed from their arms? I'd like to ask him about people who have a fetus removed and go and visit it repeatedly on board these craft as it's growing up. I'd like to ask him about the crash retrieval phenomena and the fact that our government apparently has these craft and ET bodies, which he himself has written about. No, I don't think the phenomena is an intelligence that wears different masks. I think they are people like us. I really do. I think the evidence speaks loudly to this. I'm not going to say every entity out there is an ET because I don't think that's true either. There are elves. There are little people in every culture. There's Bigfoot. There's interdimensional creatures out there too. But there are absolutely ETs. So, you know, a lot of people are writing me on my YouTube channel saying, oh, no, you're naive if you think this is extraterrestrial. Well, it's my assessment based on years of research and interviewing people. And I can tell you most contactees that I've interviewed feel that they are dealing with extraterrestrials. All right, another little rant. I thought this was the time and place for it. So there's that. Okay, so sorry if I offended anyone, but I do think we're dealing with ETs a good portion of the time with these UFOs. Okay, moving along. Frag G, question for Dolly. Where will the rescued humanity be taken to? Is it in our dimension?
Yes, it is. You're a third dimensional entity. You were born in the third dimension. You can only survive in the third dimension. I have real personal experience with that. It is going to be literally outside of this galaxy. You will be taken to another galaxy where life is occurring, and it's going to cross our universe. It's about halfway through. And it will take a very short time to get there. You will all be taught what to expect and what to know, what you need to know. You will be given what you need and replanted in a place where you can survive. And it is determined by your knowledge, your skills, your gifts, things like that. Everybody has a chance at a new life on another planet somewhere else to survive outside of this galaxy. This galaxy's got huge problems right now, and you're just going to have to be moved clean across. So that'll be cool, though. Okay.
Okay. Moving along. I'm very interested to live on another planet. That's like science fiction. That would be so cool, but real. Okay, let's see what we have here from Louise. Regarding out-of-body experiences, how do you concentrate if pain and insomnia get in the way? Oh, yeah.
That's a good question. I can answer that, personally answer that to you. I've had some real boo-boos in my life, and so I deal with pain on a constant basis. And yeah, it's hard to divorce yourself from it. Basically, what you got to do is remember that you can heal yourself to a great extent, and that's what you should work on first. Don't worry about how you concentrate. Just learn to meditate, learn to calm down and relax and let healing begin in you. Eat the right things, clean your body up, things like that. Find a healer to help you. These are the things that you can do. Once you're able to establish that with yourself, then you can move forward and do the next thing. But healing yourself is important, and you're capable of. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel for you when you're in pain, and we've all had it. You know, I had some lower back problems that literally crippled me. Couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. I mean, I couldn't roll over. So I know pain, and it's very difficult to go out of body when you're in enormous pain. But I will say there's been a number of studies on medication versus meditation and pain reduction. And it turns out meditation is equally effective and much more safe. And you can do it. It's just a process of, relaxing to the degree that you can. Pain has a tendency to keep you locked into your body. And there's been some so-called, quote, enlightened masters and yogis who write about this, who have achieved, so-called enlightenment. And they say that pain is actually a teacher because it allows you to really learn about, something that you cannot learn elsewhere. There is no pain in the higher dimensions.
Right.
So there's, it's a brutal teacher. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But yeah, you can overcome it. It's absolutely able to be overcome. And what I found is that you place your attention elsewhere. And this is easier said than done. But when you're in pain, we have a tendency to just focus on like, oh, because you have to. It's reminding you every darn second. But if you, can distract yourself, because this works with pain. If you're watching a sitcom and you're laughing, you forget about your pain for just a split second. Music, communing with nature, talking to someone, doing ohms, this sort of thing can help move you away from pain. So try to do your best to focus somewhere else, and that can lift you right out. And it's such a blessing when you're like suddenly free of pain. You're like, people have gone out of body from extreme pain. It just got so bad, they lifted right out. This would probably be qualified as a near-death experience in some of these cases, but it is possible to do. Insomnia.
There is a book on herbal medicine as well, and you can learn about what medicines you can do that are natural and don't have the side effects that pharma incorporates into their stuff. And it's not addictive. So check that out.
And insomnia is a different beast. This is something a lot of people have. Contactees, it's particularly prominent in the contactee population. Talk to a lot of contactees who say, I really don't sleep. It's 2-3 hours. So when Dolly said that, I'm like, well, this is apparently a thing. Sleep, can be completely overcome. There are people who don't need to sleep. This is super rare, but there are accounts of it.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons for it. When you're wide awake, in other words, when your consciousness is on board all the time, I don't have a separation of consciousness and physical mind. I hear everything is talking to me all at the same time. I hear it all. And I don't need REM sleep as much as most people do, because my consciousness is already in control and it operates on top of my physical mind. So 2 hours of good sleep a night is all I really need. And then the rest I'm wide awake. And that happens when you develop your abilities. Psychic ability precludes the need for deep emotional restorative REM sleep, because your physical mind is not controlling 100% of the time. It's your consciousness that is at that point, and it's different for you. So try that. Think about it. Another reason to become, psychic. Use your ability.
Yeah, a lot of insomnia is because basically we have this stream of consciousness that's racing through our mind at all times, and it consumes us. So one thing you can do to overcome insomnia is, beyond physical relaxation, mental relaxation. Take that stream of consciousness and divert your attention away from it through like Om meditation, or say the word love, 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 love over and over again, or anything. Focus on colors, use white noise, rain, anything to kind of pull you away from that. Try to just step.
Let all the physical mindsets go. Buddha used to say this. Read about Buddha and how he did it, because basically you're literally letting go of everything, and your consciousness turns on, and it's there, and it overrides you at that point. It shuts you up. In other words, you stop talking to yourself all the time, and you're listening at that point, and that's when the sleep hits. So try it.
Yeah, and anyone can do OBEs. There's no special qualifications. Doesn't matter if you're fat or thin, or if you eat meat. I mean, it can be done under the influence of alcohol. I've done it. It's not nearly as easy, but absolutely anyone can do this. So it's a natural human ability. I just cannot emphasize that enough. All right. Boy, we're stacking up these questions fast. So let's move along before we have to take our hour break, station break. Okay, Michael Kennedy. Well, this is kind of open-ended, Mike. Can you please talk about what we are headed for in the near future? All right. I think we're probably heading for some social unrest. That seems to be the norm for humanity.
Ready there? Yeah.
I think we're going to have severe weather, and we're beginning to see that. An increase in earthquake, volcanic activity. We're seeing that. So I think there's going to be, a rough time ahead. So that's just basically what the ETs have been warning us about.
Also looking at supply chain breakdowns and failures, food shortages, money issues, government issues. I mean, it's pretty much all chaotic right now and chaos, and it's probably going to get worse very rapidly.
I think we're going to see a lot of people waking up to their own abilities too.
Yes.
People waking up to the ET presence. I think there's going to be a lot of good things happening at the same time.
Right.
So I don't know.
Cool if we all woke up at the same time, then a lot of this stuff that they got planned is going to go down by the wayside because nobody's going to let them get away with it at that point because everybody's awake. That's what I kind of keep hoping for. We
all chose to come here. I don't think life on Earth is an accident. So we came here to learn some tough lessons and live some interesting times. So let's have fun with it. Easy to say when the world falls apart, but hey, we're here. May as well have fun. Okay, Star Orchid 8. I would like to know about body markings. For example, needle-like punctures in semicircle underfoot. All right. Well, I can talk a little bit about this. This is something a number of contactees do report. We have to be careful here because Dolly's got some pretty strong opinions on this. When I show her scoop marks and stuff, she's like, my labs. And I think you can tell a lot of the times because when someone has a mark caused by ETs, which does happen, it heals very quickly. It's almost always painless. I mean, it can literally scar over in a day and then it disappears. I've seen this happen. A girl at work came in. She was pulled on board by Grays, and they told her, we're going to cut your arm. And she was fighting them the whole way. She ended up ultimately concluding it was a positive experience for her. But it was initially very scary. And she showed me the scar, and it disappeared so darn fast. And I've heard this from another guy. He had diabetes, and his wounds take a long time to heal. He had one of these body markings, and it was gone within a day. I think this is significant because you can use this to determine, was this caused by ETs? Is this a bug bite? Is this, a problem with MILABs, military abductions, which is a thing, unfortunately, because they do target contactees and basically make it very confusing for them to determine what's going on. So that's my opinion on that. I think they're basically related to healing and implant procedures in a number of cases. You got any thoughts on that, Dolly?
I think you covered it pretty well. ET does not leave injury. They only leave something that's healing right away. In other words, they've done some good for you and it's healing. It's like you got to go have surgery to have your appendix taken out. You're not in trouble anymore. You're healing. And there's a huge difference between that and something that is burning, pocked, bleeding, things like that. That ET doesn't do that to anybody. That is a MILAB or some other weird kind of thing that's happened to you in the military, maybe. I don't know. But ET only does things that help us heal. That's it. So.
All right. Okay, I'm going through these questions as they appear. So if I haven't answered your question, it's probably because I haven't gotten to it, but feel free to ask it again. Tom, I think I see your question like 3 or 4 questions down. So I can see that. We're getting to it. Okay. Next question comes from Vicky Campbell. Preston, can you share your Bigfoot story, please? Thanks. Mm-hmm. Sure. I'll keep it short because I have told it before, but I met this lady who is a contactee who called me up one day. She says, Bigfoot's harassing me. It's in telepathic contact with me. It's walking around the house. It stinks like dirty socks and death and garbage and smelly feet and death. She just gave this very vivid description. She said it's bothering the neighbors. The horses in the place are going crazy. This is in Acton on the north side of LA, the National Forest there. It kept coming to her house over and over again. She saw it, look in the window on the same night that her son saw it, climb the tree outside his window, snapped a branch that big. I went over there and I saw it. And her roommate saw it looking in his window. One night it came and put a boulder on her roof. I mean, this is a real honest-to-God Bigfoot case. And she's like, Preston, I think it's trying to kidnap me. They don't do that, do they? I said, no. There are no recorded cases of kidnapping. Turns out I was wrong. I was new to Bigfoot. There are some cases. It's super rare, but it does happen. But she's like, I know where it lives. I can show you where it lives. So I went up there. We drove. It's right off the 514 freeway, about 3 miles to her house. And then we drove down this dirt road about another 3 miles directly into the LA forest. We got there about dusk, and she was pulling out all the camera and sound equipment because we were going to record this. I walked around in front of the car, and I'm surveying the area. There's this huge canyon. It goes really steep at, literally 45 degrees down and then up. And I'm just looking around when I hear this roar. And, I grew up next to cougars. Our neighbor kept cougars in a cage. It was sad, but yeah, I've got books and books on bears. I've watched everything I can on that. I was next to a lion when it roared in the zoo. This was none of those. This was a very loud, persistent, multi-tonal roar, which lasted a good 20 seconds. I honestly thought it was a jet moving overhead. And then it roared again. And I could kind of pinpoint where it was. It was in this gully, this canyon, where Wendy said that this being lived. And I went running towards it because I wanted to see it. And she completely freaked out. She became hysterical. Like, what are you doing? Don't run towards it. We're leaving. And she says it roared 3 times. I'm pretty sure it was twice. But man, oh man, I'll never forget it because it resonated in your chest. So that was my Bigfoot encounter. It was an audible encounter. But yeah, they're real. Okay. And I know Dolly had one too. She heard a Bigfoot roar up in the Stone Mountain, Georgia. Is that right?
No, in Pine Mountain, Georgia, in the FDR State Park.
Okay. Moving along. Oh my goodness. Michael Kennedy, thoughts on Dr. Greer's recent whistleblower release? Good for him. I don't agree with everything he's put out and said. In fact, there's some of it that just, no, I don't agree. But I think he's doing some really important work on the quote disclosure front, giving people a platform, the whistleblowers. And he's dead set to get some of this information out. So, I know he's posting it on his website and trying really hard to bring attention to this subject and the fact that our governments do have ET technology. So, yeah, I think it's good news. Your thoughts, Dolly?
Anybody who's trying to bring the truth out is doing a good job. That's what I think. I don't agree with everybody's platforms 100%, but everybody's got to try. So go, keep going,
Okay, moving along. Guys, I'm trying to get to all the questions, so please be patient. There's quite a few of them, but I think now is a good time to do a quick station break. I want to let you all know that you're watching The Light Gate. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. We're doing a Q&A tonight. Ask us anything, and we'll try to get to all these questions. We'll probably speed through it towards the end, but we want to give our answers as detailed as possible. But yeah, you're watching The Light Gate, and we are streaming live on the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. Also, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. And we are on YouTube and Roku and Facebook. So we're doing pretty good. The show is really beginning to take off. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. We've been talking about all different kinds of subjects, everything from CMEs and disclosure, reverse engineered government stuff, OBEs, and Bigfoot. So yeah, ask us anything and we will definitely try to get to it. Okay, moving on from Dr. Greer. This is just a comment. One or both of you are double Taurus. Am I a double Taurus? I don't know. I am a Taurus.
Oh, you're not a double Taurus.
Okay.
And no, I'm not a double Taurus. I'm a Taurus whose moon is in Aquarius and my rising sign is Sagittarius. Preston's moon is in Pisces, which is weird because we both love the water like crazy. We're water people. And Taurus is fixed, land. So yeah, we're kind of a mixed up Taurus. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
All right. Now moving along. What do you attribute the halo effect to following an ET encounter? I'm not familiar with that term, the halo effect. Are you talking about seeing halos around lights? If you want to elaborate on that, I might be able to answer. But the Oz effect, that's when everything goes completely quiet. Even traffic might disappear. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. But yeah, if you want to elaborate on that, Audrey, I will try to answer, but I'm not familiar with that term, the halo effect. So I'll try to look for your answer if you want to.
I will say this to y'all. The phenomenon of weather going on at the same time you see, in the past have seen UFOs. Basically, whatever weather is in place when a UFO is coming into it, you could have a hazy day, a very dry day. You could have a storm front coming through. There's all kinds of things that would affect how you see the light from a UFO. And you have to take those things to in effect. Like when you're taking pictures of the moon, sometimes the moon looks like it has a halo. But there's a lot of ice crystals up there with it, and it gives that glowy effect. And you could have that kind of weather going on when the craft comes down, and it looks like there's ice crystals all around it, a halo. So there's reasons.
Okay, Dolly, I have a question for you, which came in by email. I almost forgot.
Oh.
It's from someone who is actually asleep right now, and he's going to watch the replay. I forget his name. I wrote it down. But he wants to know how long, I love this question, how long do the little AI grays live? And how long do they endure if they're not alive?
It's indeterminable. I have never known one unless it's been damaged to be taken offline, not used. They last forever. They're very sturdy, even though they're easily manipulated by human beings, in which you can break them easily. I'm 66, and my two original that have worked with me my whole life are still with me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a real answer for that. I know that the tall grays live longer than 1,000 years, and these guys were made to last. So there's a lot of them. They are the workers of the entire universe. Every ethnicity, ET, dimensional, all of them use them. And it's because they can take the heavy loads of gamma radiation outside of a magnetosphere. So yeah, they can take all kinds of real, radiation punishment. They have like a liquid that they drink that keeps them going. And I've never known one to go down unless it was injured. So.
Okay, moving along. Okay, Tom, your question is 3 down, so we're almost there. That's the question I'm thinking of. Okay, Maria. Dolly, does your ET family incorporate karma when dealing with humans on Earth?
Everybody incorporates karma. It's universal. If you're in the third dimension, you have karma. We're all here to learn. And karma is part of the term used to describe how that learning occurs. And yeah, everybody has karma. ET has karma as well. They're in the third dimension with us, and yep, they have karma too. They may be more advanced than we are, and they may understand it differently from us. In other words, their advancement affords them the ability to avoid bad karma. But yeah, everybody has karma. It's a condition of being in the third dimension, period.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I've heard it actually mentioned by word from people I've interviewed with, the contactees have used that word, karma. So I thought that was super interesting. Okay, moving along. Olden Dufton says, I've had a very strange encounter I'd like to share with you, Preston. May I contact you via email? Yes, of course. My email is my name and the word UFO, prestonufo@gmail.com. But please be patient with me. I mean, it's literally going to take me a month. I'm trying to, if it's an easy email, I can answer it right away. But when it comes to, an interview and trying to, investigate someone's case, I'm putting a lot of those on the back burner right now until I catch up. But yeah, absolutely do contact me. I'm always open to hearing people's stories, answering questions. So yeah, I try to answer every email I get. So if you haven't heard back from me, please be patient. Okay, moving along. Samantha is saying, has God sent Christ or another son to home planets to save them from their sins as well? Would he not do this for all his children no matter what? So I guess the question is, does Jesus appear on other planets?
Okay, I love y'all, okay, and I'm going to be really, really, really honest with you right now. I want you to consider what I say. You don't have to believe me. You don't want to. But I would like you to consider what I tell you. Religion has been used to make you think differently than you would normally think if you were using your abilities and operating on a different level of consciousness. Jesus Christ was an anointed master. And what I mean by that is that he is an ascended individual, entity, person who was come here to teach. And everything that he said and did has not been chronicled exactly as it should have been. And mankind, in its infinite reasoning, good and bad, have rewritten what Jesus actually said and did. If you understood how the universe really works, and that we are all of us together in source, we are all children of the universal mind, what you think of as God. We're all equal in that, and that we have different levels of ascension and understanding and wisdom. And a lot of us have come back over the years trying to help each other maintain or the ability to gain wisdom, to gain morality, to gain what you need to know to get off of this rock or any rock in the universe that's at this level. And I want you to consider whether you think for yourself, whether you are an operating person who is capable of making your decisions for yourself, soundly for yourself, and understanding that you have to gain wisdom, you have to gain morality and ascend yourself. Because as we are right now, we're not anywhere close to being what we should be. And anybody that tells you that you have to believe something or somebody else to attain those things instead of doing the work for yourself is not telling you the truth. And I want you to think about that. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right. I'm going to give Rick Schatz cuts because of the generous super chat. So I'm going to just jump to this question and move on to the rest in order. So thank you, Rick. Truly appreciated. And he's asking, Dolly, is it possible to call on a specific race of ETs to show themselves?
Okay, let's not use the word race. We're all the same race. We're all human. A group. Yes, if you're developing your abilities and you're making the call out psychically for somebody to contact you, they will. I want you to be careful though, because you got to know who's answering you. You have to be developed enough to understand that what's coming back at you is what you asked for. We're on a planet where everybody's conscious, whether you realize it or not, and you're capable of transmitting almost anything to anybody, anywhere, at any time. And there is also a type of entities that live with us or people who do not have your best interests at heart here. And you might make the call, they hear it, and they answer you, and they're the last thing you want to have answer you. So develop your abilities, learn to hear the all mind, the universal mind. That will tell you the truth, and you'll know it when you hear it. There's no doubt in your mind when that one touches you. Okay, go for that one first. Ask it to help you learn to really amplify your abilities, to exercise your ability and get good at it, and then ask for a specific person, entity from somewhere to talk to you. But in the meantime, remember that whatever you ask for, you're going to get, but you don't always know who's answering you, and you have to be good enough to understand what that answer is. So be careful. Okay.
All right. He says, thank you. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely make contact. It's all about consciousness and telepathy. Okay, moving along. Oh, I think we already covered this one. And this question is from Tom. Possibly saw an orb fly in front of you when you were talking about OBEs in your recent Grant Cameron interview. I timestamped when the orb comes across you on his video. I have seen a few orbs. Once I was talking about my mom during my OBE episode, and I actually saw this orb. Like, whoa. And I think that may have been her. Sometimes I think, when the light's right, it catches a dog hair or an insect. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on some of the orb photos that are coming across. I know there was one. I'm not sure I looked at the one on the Grant Cameron interview, but I'll check it out. Because I was talking about OBEs. And talking about these kind of stuff can attract spirits to you, and they can appear as orbs. But yeah, when the light's right, a tiny speck of dust can light up and look like an orb.
A light bulb. That's
and
right.
Something is actually moving in a very intelligent way and persists, I'm skeptical. But I don't know. I'll check it out. So thank you, Tom. And moving to the next one. Kimberly Matthias. What are the bony crab creatures that would prick my skin and take blood samples? What was that about? This sounds like a chapter from my book, Extraterrestrial Visitations, called The Bony Crab Monster, which is what a little kid was describing to his mom, which turned out to be grays, because he was basically describing how they came through the wall and how they had very skinny bodies and floated him up out of bed and pulled him into the backyard and pricked his finger. So this was a child's perception of an encounter with grays, if that's what you're talking about, because that's the only time I've ever heard anyone say bony crab monster. So yeah, that's in my book, Extraterrestrial Visitations. The mother was having contact, and turned out her son was too. So, okay. Scarlet Fire. Too bad the skeptics are not willing to read the books and look into the evidence. That's just a comment, but I love it. Thank you, Scarlet Fire. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to speak to a skeptic who hasn't even done any investigation.
Right.
Honestly, have the guts to look into the evidence. I get it. I was a skeptic. It violates your worldview to accept this subject. It can be painful, literally painful. So I get it, but yeah, if you want to discuss the subject, at least have the, good sense to look into the evidence. Okay, moving along. Is the smell, Audrey Miller is asking, is the smell of fresh cut grass significant during an ET encounter? Have you heard of that, Dolly?
Yeah, I know something about this. First of all, human beings have olfactory nerves in their mouths. Your tongue doesn't just taste, the top of the roof of your mouth does, up into your nostril. You have a big nerve up there, your olfactory nerve. And the number one smell that every human being can identify without even thinking about it is cut grass. Any kind of cut grass, wheat, germ, anything, green grass, you name it. If it's been cut, you can smell it. And you can smell it for miles sometimes if the wind is blowing right. ET will sometimes, when they visit, have an ozone that smells, when they're coming down, that smells just like cut grass. And it's because they're interacting with the flora and the fauna as they're coming down, and it's either cutting it with an energy field or it's warming it up so that it emits that odor. And yeah, everybody smells that smell and goes, oh, that's, and they start associating it with them. So yeah, the number one human smell on the planet is cut grass. And ET can make that as they're coming down, the ship can create that aroma that you all pick up. So they identify. Yeah.
I did actually an episode on the smell of UFOs, and it was really interesting because a lot of people who are taken on board do smell organic odors. People have smelled the ETs, and the fact that they were, smelling organic odors, I think points towards these being living organic beings like us.
Right.
And people also smell electric odors and ozone and chemical odors sometimes, which points to these objects being machines, metallic craft. So I think there's a lot to learn from odors in association with this phenomena.
Right. I'll tell you a secret about the Greys too. They have really, really good senses of smell. And one of the things that they do, how a brand new mom, all moms know this. You can smell your baby and you know your baby from every other baby on the planet. That baby smell is your baby smell and you know it. ET has that kind of smelling ability, and they huff one another, and when they greet, they'll put their heads together and inhale. And I can tell who you are by your scent. I was taught this by them, and it's really wild. It's like if you're going to use one of your senses, use it really well. They use all of their senses, including their psychic abilities, really, really well. So their sense of touch is way developed, their sight is way developed, their sense of smell, taste, all of it, their psychic ability. It's incredible. Ask yourself, if you don't have those abilities here, why? Why are you being dulled down to where you can't perceive it properly? And it could be the chemicals in your food, the chemicals in your water, da 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 da. Clean up, get pure, and be shocked at how suddenly you come alive with the ability to sense everything. Okay? All right.
Okay, moving along. This is from Ben Riley. When the CME, coronal mass ejection event takes place, will it be possible to save electronic devices using Faraday cages? Or will it be completely useless?
It depends on the level and when it happens. We have the ability to Faraday things now to a certain degree. But once that KP energy level goes beyond 30, even 80, you're doomed. It's done. It's gone. Nothing Faradayable here at that point. 10 miles straight down, and that's the kill shot that they're talking about. So right now, Faraday what you can, so that these storms that we're having are not affecting your equipment, okay? But there is coming a day where that KP is going to be high enough to fry us all the way through to the inside of our planet. So yeah. But yeah, Faraday. Get a Faraday blanket. Protect your body from it. You're being affected by it as well. Get a Faraday cap, get a Faraday blanket. And when you know there's solar storms coming up, cover up your body. It affects your heart. It affects your mind. It affects your memory. It affects all kinds of things. We're vulnerable to it. That's why people are more angry during these storms and crazy and doing weird things. Think about it. Read up on it. Please read up on it. It's interesting to understand, and it'll help you make decisions about how you're going to deal with all of this. Okay.
All right, moving along. This is from Tom K. Question: do you believe in heaven and hell? Can I go first?
Yes.
I'm going to give a short one-word answer as yes, but not in the religious sense. I'm not a religious guy. But I have had out-of-body experiences, and we go to a place when we die that is heavenly. The colors, the air itself sparkles. You are permeated with love. It is absolutely descriptive to say, descriptively correct to call it heavenly, because it really is. It's
gorgeous, beautiful,
yeah, wonderful place you can possibly imagine. You couldn't be in a bad mood if you tried. And I became curious because, reading the works of Marilyn Hughes and other people who've done astral projection, Robert Monroe, they talk about lower realms. And after I started to get good at this, I'm like, let's do this. Let's go as low as I can get. And yeah, there are what I would term hellish realms, not so much lakes of fire, but people trapped in their own despair, their own depression, their own anger. Mostly it's that, their own addiction, So people who are just earthbound in a bad way, to the point where they won't even pay attention to what's going on around them. They're so turned in and self-involved and just
Right.
in a bad state. It's a real problem. And if you start getting good at OBEs, at some point you're going to start rescuing lost souls, earthbound souls. So in that sense, yeah, I think there are hellish realms, and it goes up from there to where it's, not so bad. It's like Earth on a bad day. A lot of people don't know they're dead. Some, you go up another level, they do know they're dead, but they can't fly, they can't, do telepathy or telekinesis or all the natural abilities that you can do in the heavenly realms. So there's levels of awareness that, raise as you go to these higher and higher dimensions.
Yeah, and understand that there are those who are already on the other side that do come and help. And everybody's trying to help you, like debrief you through it, get you to understand where you are, what's happening to you, get you to face what you didn't face when you were here. I mean, if you're running around like an idiot here and causing all kinds of problems for everybody, including yourself, you're not going to go straight into the perfectness. You're going to end up somewhere where you're going to get debriefed about it and talked to about it and asked to consider what you did and why and things like that. This is all about learning. This is a process. This is why karma is karma. If you don't fulfill your purpose while you're here, while you're learning and achieve what you could have achieved, if you jumped out of it or quit too early or just didn't do it, there's going to be talking to you about it and getting you to see it and understand it. There's no free ride anywhere. Energy is not, as you've been told, 100% free. Those of us who are energy itself have to work the energy to have the energy keep going. And it's important that you learn that and learn it quick so that you don't sit on your keisters while you're here and do nothing to help yourself. That's why it's important to understand that you're responsible 100% of the time for everything you say, do, feel, everything, how you help others, how you don't help others. This is a real thing. Karma is important, and working it, healing yourself, getting through this will get you better to make it to the other side and know what's going on and be ready to take the next step, because you'll recycle back here without even knowing what you did if you don't. And that's how people talk about reliving the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, why can't I get out of this? It's because you're not paying attention. Pay attention, right?
And Scarlet Fire, I think you're absolutely right. Upon your death, your soul migrates to the vibrational level you were living on Earth. So absolutely. Okay, Audrey Miller has come back to explain what the halo effect is. Why do contactees experience increased psychic ability for a couple of weeks following an encounter? I've heard it called the halo effect. That's super interesting. And I think what's going on here, I'm sure Dolly has some opinions on this, but I've certainly noticed it. And I think what's happening is when a person has an encounter, it's very much an enlightening experience, and your bioelectric field has been enhanced, or you've been given more access to it, because when you're on board, you're speaking telepathically. Your psychic abilities are fully charged. And you come back and then boom, 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 it's still going on. You might have poltergeist-like activity. You might start seeing ghosts or shadow people, having dreams come true. So yeah, this is caused by the experience itself. It's natural human ability.
Right. Well, okay, let's take it one step further. You know why you can say it's happening and you can describe what's happening, but why it's happening, the nuts and bolts of it is important to understand. When you're a baby and your parents are teaching you language, you hear the language the entire time you're in your mommy's tummy, and you're kind of pre-programmed to come out and learn to understand your parents and communicate with them right away. And everybody works to help you get to that point. And when you start communicating, everybody keeps communicating and communicating. If you're not using your psychic abilities and your parents aren't using those with you, it falls to the wayside. You don't go there with it. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's like language. If you don't speak the language fluently all the time, you'll let it go to the wayside and you'll speak another language, and then you'll become slower at it and can't communicate. Psychic ability is the same way. When you're in proximity and they're helping you, it's like you've got the phone number, you're on the line with them, and you're using your ability. But the minute you hang that up, Do you know the number to get back to it? No, because you don't have somebody here helping you reapply that over and over and over again. So use it or don't use it. If you don't use it, you re-lose it again. It's your natural ability, and energy used is energy amplified. Your mind is an amplifier. It's a transmitter. And if you're on and you've turned the switch on, it's going to bloom and work, and you get used to having it on, and you don't think about turning it off anymore. It's just there, it's on. But the minute you don't think about it, it goes away. And if you're not used to it, it'll go away really fast. So it's not a halo. It's you literally hanging up the line and not going back to it. So think about it that way. Think about that. If you have contact and you are suddenly, oh, wow, I can do this. Keep going. Find people. Don't let it stop. Say, I want to talk to you psychically. Let's practice. And keep doing it until you are on 100% of the time. That's how this works. Okay? All right.
Okay. We're getting through the, I know some of you are like, answer my question. We're getting through it. There's 50 lined up. So once it starts getting closer to the end, we'll go through them much more quickly.
Okay.
But here is one from Werder Bremen. Question to Preston or Dolly. The ships are very distinctive in design. I've seen them from afar in the woods in Germany. 15 feet or more tall and looked a bit like dinosaurs, just brown. Well, they can take on any appearance they really want to. So I think if that's what you're talking about, it's not really a question, is it?
Find it interesting you're seeing them in Germany. I would love to hear more about that. No kidding. Because Preston's had an interesting time with getting German accounts. And it's because they're either not reporting it or it's just not happening. And it might be a little bit of both going on. So yeah, you should send him a email and tell him what you know. Literally, anybody from Germany, if you have something to say about this, give him an email, because he's a researcher par excellence and he wants your stories. He wants to know what y'all know. So help out.
Okay, here's a question. Yeah, we're going to have to start going through these rather quickly because we have half an hour left and we still have 40 questions, 47. So what was Dolly's past life on other planets like?
Oh, okay. I really did. I was a tall gray. I came here to do this. I felt the need to be involved, and I came back for this reason, but I was a tall gray. I lived on Enneama in the Orion system, and I lived several lifetimes doing that, mostly learning and understanding how life works and that kind of thing. I have an absolute memory of going to other worlds as an entity, tall gray, and seeing unbelievably cool animals. I'm an animal nut. I've been one throughout eternity, and I love them. And so I remember seeing lots of really cool stuff. And that's mostly my thing. I also remember being Anunnaki. I did have wings in a lifetime, and it was a long time ago. I mean, way back. And I was a guy, not a girl. And I have memories of being a Roman guard. I have memories of being an Amazon here. I have memories of being, my last life, I empirically remember everything about it, and I won't talk about it publicly. It would distract people, so I'm not. I remember being in Scotland, Ireland, England, things like that. I remember being all over this place, back and forth throughout time. So, and I have one other memory that is old, and I remember being a dragon. That's why I'm fascinated with dragons. I am fascinated with dragons because I remember being one, but it wasn't here, it was somewhere else. And it was really cool. And I lived a long time. And that was awesome. I have dreams, I have memories of flying and doing crazy stuff. And no, we didn't breathe fire. But yeah, I was a dragon. We ate animals and stuff. So, yep.
All right. We're going to have to move quickly through these, Dolly. Yeah,
okay.
Because some people are like, where did Michael? Are you going to answer my question?
Okay.
Yeah. The fallen Amish guy. Yes, we're getting to your question. I hope we can get to it in time. This is from Reynal Omnicide. I got a question for either of you. When I was a kid around 12 or 14, I accidentally started doing lucid dreams and then experimented with sleep paralysis twice. Can I learn to astral project or remote view? Yes, 100%. If you did it once, you're absolutely primed to do it. It's a natural human ability. It's as safe as sleeping. It just takes a little effort. For any of you who want to learn how to do it, I've got a little guidebook. Just email me, prestonufo@gmail.com. I've outlined the steps in 2 pages. And if you follow them, I can pretty much guarantee it will work. I've taught people how to do it. If you've lucid dreamed, you can absolutely astral project. All right. What do you think, Dolly? You agree?
I agree 100%. Yes.
Cool. Okay, moving along. John Williams, question for Preston. I've noticed in one of your videos a few months ago, there's a dog in the background. It was the only time I've seen a dog in all your episodes, so I was surprised. Do you have a dog? Yes, we do. Duchess. I'll call her. Now I've said her name. She's probably going to come running. She's a psychic dog. Not kidding. She'll probably show up right when we're ending the show because I'll call her if not. Remind me, and she will make a little appearance for y'all. Okay, this is a good question from Allison Carr. How long can CMEs last?
It just depends on how strong it is, how fast it reaches Earth, if it's Earth facing or not. They generally take 24 to 48 hours to hit. The energy from them excites the Earth right away. There's an initial blast of energy that the Earth reacts to. That's why there are bad storms and lightning and things like that, high winds. And when they do hit, they can knock out anything electronic, metal, stuff like that. So, and it just depends on the size of it.
All right. Moving along. Dolly and Preston, have you heard of Anjali? I have. I'm reluctant to comment on other experiencers, but I'll look into it because I honestly can't remember the details. I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm just not sure. But yeah, I will look into it, Natasha. Simon Dumbbell Masters says, I think Werner von Braun was really very avid about the alien false flag thing. Yeah, he told his assistant, Carol Rosen, that this was going to happen, and I think we're seeing it.
Yep.
So here is a question from Natasha Stone. Dolly, are the solar flares having any positive effect on our bodies, or only
No.
negative effects?
Zero. None. Nope.
All right.
Sorry.
I guess that's that then.
Yep.
Taville is asking, do you think you will keep your awakening to your past lives if you have another life, or do you think you will forget it again? Thanks. I think you will remember, because once you start to wake up, this is something that persists from life to life. You keep the level of awareness that you built up. Love and knowledge is really the only thing you carry through from life to life to life.
Right.
All right. Some ufologists say the reptilians run this world. Could that be true? I don't think the reptilians, I think you can call them that if you want. I think they're heinous, but I'm not sure that I would call them actual reptilians. Any comment, Dolly? No. Just kidding. Okay.
No, not even going to touch it.
Well, Jenny Lynn is asking, what do you guys make of all the videos and recordings of sounds in the sky? Very hard to describe, but I've listened to quite a few, almost like a trumpet or howling coming from the skies. I have heard of some of these. I think some are government projects, honestly. I think some might be the earth itself grinding,
Right.
in much the way we would see earthquake lights.
Right.
Make a humming kind of noise.
Right.
But yeah, I think that some of this is our own governments testing out nefarious technologies. I'd be very concerned about it.
Yeah.
Okay, Samantha Shaw, Preston or Dolly? do you think interdimensional beings are human or ETs in an alternative universe or dimension? Some are, yeah. I mean, ghosts come down and they're human. They're
right.
interdimensional beings. So
We're all the same energy, okay? We're all literally in this universe, we're all within 12 dimensions, and we're all in source at the same time we're here. And so we're all related that way, okay? If you're a living entity, you are a type of energy that does not change or go away. It doesn't alter or anything. How you present to your life in the third dimension is important, in that you're either human or an animal or grass or something that's alive, biological. Um, Entities who are outside of this dimension, and you gotta, all dimensions, like think of a bubble, think of the earth, and think that the earth has 12 dimensions coming through it from the middle all the way out, or out all the way in. And we're all on top of one another. And the reason you can't see it, you can see dimensionally in the third dimension. You're in the third dimension. You can see three different angles or sides. Okay. And you can see the first dimension because it's flat. You can see the second dimension because it's flat and high. Okay. In the third dimension, you have height, depth, and circumference and things like that. People who are in dimensionally outside of this space are extra dimensional. In other words, they see more than we do. They can see us, but we're not wide awake here, so we don't see them. People talk about having guardian angels. I guarantee you that's a fourth dimensional being who lives with you, watches you every day, knows your life, and is trying to help you in the moment that you really need it the most. That's what the dimensional entity is. By the time you get to the fifth dimension, they lose their corporeal hold on physicality. In other words, their energy is sufficient alone to keep them going in the fifth dimension. They don't need a corporeal body to exist. And they are many like that, and they're all the same. Now, there's a fourth dimensional being that looks like an angel, a light being, and they're somewhere between the fourth and fifth dimension. They've evolved to that. You have the ability to evolve up dimensionally. If you leave here and you're not going to do third dimension anymore, you'll probably end up in the fourth, and then the fifth, and then the sixth, and the seventh, all the way out through until you get to meet the all nine. You can have a conversation with it. Think about that. That's what it means to ascend. You're ascending the dimensional spaces as you acquire wisdom and knowledge and ability. That's what that is.
Okay, we have 40 questions left and 20 minutes, so we can do each one in 30 seconds. It's not going to happen, but we can try.
Okay.
Okay, Brian, Preston, Dolly, what are your thoughts or feelings on one of the beings visiting us? Are they really from the future?
No,
I think so.
absolutely not. No. ET, when you're outside of time and space, outside the third dimension, you can see all of it at the same time, but you don't get to experience it physically. Only the third dimension physically experiences itself. Everything in the past to us is empty space now. It doesn't exist anymore. And everything in our future hasn't happened yet. We're not there yet. And it's because the third dimension is so gravity heavy and solid that you can't do that. If somebody from the future tried to come through in the third dimension to get here, they would not make it. They would die. They would cease to exist. So no such thing.
Simon's asking, are the ant people ET or Earth indigenous? This is a Native American oral tradition about ant people. So I think this is back a long time ago that the Native Americans interacted in a much more open way, had a greater understanding and a relationship with ETs than perhaps we do today in modern Western culture.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that they're Earth indigenous.
No.
I'm not sure any of us really are ultimately, but no, I don't know about that. Okay, Mountain Dan. Preston, have you done a video on UFOs in wartime, like Vietnam, Korea, or World War II? No, not specifically. It does come up occasionally in some cases. But in fact, I'm covering one in an upcoming video. But no, not specifically. It's a good idea, though. I will look into it. Okay. Next question. Let me just make sure this is... trying to get I'm trying to catch up to you guys. I know some of you are like, answer my question. Okay, Blind Psychonaut, it says, I am what you call a natural at lucid dreaming and astral projection. My question is, I still have trouble distinguishing between the two. How do you know what I am doing astral projection? I guess they're essentially the same thing. A lucid dream is an out-of-body experience. The only real difference is when you're lucid dreaming, you are projecting an environment around you. It's a dream, whereas in OBE, you're perceiving an objective environment. But yeah, you can tell the difference by a few things. One, you can basically shout out, all illusion end. And things might start disappearing and you'll see that, oh, this is a lucid dream. Or you can try spinning. That will cause a lucid dream environment to dissolve. Or you can walk through a wall or a window or any solid substance, and that can pull you out of a lucid dream. That's 3 methods that I know work. But yeah, it can be very hard to distinguish. Okay, question. Do you have to believe in Jesus or just be spiritual to go to the next dimension? You don't have to believe in Jesus, and you don't even have to be spiritual. It's going to happen to you upon death, no matter what. You don't have to believe in any of it to have an out-of-body experience. You can go in as a complete skeptic, do the exercises, and lo and behold, it'll happen. Belief can have an effect on what you perceive and how you perceive it and interpret it. But no, anyone can do it. Doesn't matter what you believe.
This is a classroom we're in, and you can go between the dimensions astrally, and it's all for you to learn and experience all of it. So,
okay, we're down to 35 questions. I'm going to do my best. Oh, thank you, Rod Mitsui, for the super chat. Truly appreciated.
thank you.
Very, very much appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Olivia is asking Dolly, will the beings discern who they tell to board their craft, or will those with bad intentions also be welcomed, considering they already know our hearts? And also, can our pets go?
Your pets can go. If you have a dog or a cat or a bird or whatever, yeah, take your animal with you. They will be welcome. This is a tricky question because it's up to ET who they pick up.
No one with bad intentions is going to go. It's a simple answer.
I know. If you're up to no good, trust me, you're not even going to see that they're there. They will blind you to them. You won't be able to see them. Their intention is to get as many people off awake as they can. And if you're ready for this experience, you're ready, and they will know, and they will pick you up, and you'll see them and hear them. So,
okay, moving along. Dolly or Preston, have you witnessed any craft lately? I have not.
no.
Okay. Could you talk about the Arcturians and any experience you may have had with them? We love to label ETs as Arcturians or Pleiadians, and I'm not sure how helpful that is, unless they specifically tell you this, but I know Dolly has some pretty strong feelings about Arcturians and Pleiadians and such.
I want to tell you a secret, okay? Billy Meyer is the one that coined that term. And he was trying to explain something that a lot of people, native peoples around the world are explaining. And that is when you look in the sky and you point to the Pleiades, okay? And they say, that's where we're from. What's really happening is you were taught to point there. ET taught them that's about the part of the sky where you come from. But it's not the Pleiades, it's what's behind it. The Pleiades is a star nursery. It is gravity heavy, and the stars in it are too big to support life of any kind. They're too close together. They're moving in a straight line together like an arrow, and nothing can survive the magnetism that's in that star group. Nothing. And so there are no quote unquote Pleiadians. This is a myth that has gained unbelievable misconception and speed, and people just automatically use these terms without thinking about the truth of the situation or understanding science behind it. There is a star system behind the Pleiades. It's the Delphi system, and life does occur there behind it. So you can't see it without special optics to get back behind the Pleiades to see the Delphi system. And it's only certain times a year that you can really view that system. And that's where a lot of our native peoples originated and came from.
Okay, we have to move on if we're going to get through all the questions.
Okay, I'm going to give you science all night long. Okay, go ahead.
And let's try to do this next part rapid fire, okay?
Okay.
Silent listen. Dolly, what were the lights Melinda Leslie was seeing for months in Sedona? She said they were possibly coming from a deep underground military base. Well, probably.
Maybe. I wasn't there. I don't know. I would have to be in contact with her and have a long discussion and ask her many questions to be able to answer that. Sorry. You know,
all
it's
right. Next question coming from Vicky Campbell. Dolly, do you see auras around people and objects?
Yes. If it's biological and alive, oh, you bet. I can see the aura of the sun. Like if the sun's on a rock and that rock is starting to get really, really hot, I can see the energy coming off it. It's not the same thing as an aura, though. I just see energy moving around it. I see biological energy as auras, and everything has one. Plants, birds, dogs, cats, trees, everybody. We have auras. So, yes, I do see them.
Thank you, Bad Cat. I appreciate it. And yes, some Bigfoot can be a little bit hostile. I don't think they necessarily hurt people, but they're territorial. Okay, Dolly, what's the oldest alien species?
Well, yeah. Actually, I would say that the fifth dimensional entities that I know of, like Talata, is the oldest that I know, and that's because they are ancient beyond ancient, and they have exceeded the third dimension into the fifth dimension. So they're the oldest, them and light beings from the fourth and the fifth dimension. Here in our third dimension, I would dare say that we've had experiences with would be the Anunnaki. They are the oldest.
All right, moving along. Allison's asking, Preston, can you describe what happened when you look in the mirror during your OBE? Was it strange, or were you one with it, so to speak? It's really interesting. I've done it many times. When you start seeing doubles in your dreams, your OBE, it's a big thing in the beginning. And yeah, you can go up to a mirror and look at it, and it's crazy because you can see yourself as different people, past lives, as you normally look, as you look when you're younger, because you can basically age regress. And yeah, you do feel a weird, it's hard to describe. I mean, you really just have to experience it yourself. But it's amazing. It's all kinds of fun. The stuff you can do OBE is off the charts. Okay. We're going to go through this real fast, you guys, because we got like 25 questions and 10 minutes to do it. TNSN5. How do contactees make contact? Through consciousness, telepathy.
Yeah. I can only speak from my personal experience. When I was young, they made contact with me. I gained the ability to know when they were coming. I could hear them coming. I would be mentally contacted by them. I am now still in contact with Talata and Mama and Micha, who's a being way out in the universe. It is interesting to me because it's like they're just there. I hear them. I've communicated with them so much that it's like an instant phone call, a psychic phone call that I can make. Now, I don't always have contact when I want it because they're busy and they're ignoring me and I have to wait for an answer. Or sometimes I'm busy doing something and they contact me and I have to either reply or say, give me a minute and come back to them because it takes a little bit of brain effort to stay with them in contact and have the conversation. So, but that's how it works. It's all psychic.
All right. I'm deleting some of you guys in chat. Be nice.
Yeah.
If you're going to be rude, you're not going to be allowed to
love one another. It's okay.
Okay. J.R. Amadeus Schiffer. I'm a multiple paranormal experiencer since a little kid. What would that label me besides special? Normal. That would label you normal. That's the way we should be.
Yeah, definitely. You're okay. You're a contactee and you're normal. Everybody's contactee at one time or another in their life, some more than others. And if you have memories of it, good for you. Keep going. Develop. You got this.
Okay, White Dragon says, Preston, I know of people that were taken to inner Earth and told they had a plan due to CME activity. I was told that this will not happen. What can you say? I know nothing about this, so I really couldn't tell you.
I'm going to say something. There's no inner Earth. I'm sorry. Let's get scientific here. You need to understand what pressure is and heat. And our planet, you go down about a mile and that's all you're going to get. It's going to start crushing you. There is no inner Earth. Anything anywhere close to where they're talking about would kill you instantly. Your body couldn't handle it.
Okay, we're down to 20 questions or so we might be able to get this done. Are the geomagnetic storms getting worse? Is there going to be a Carrington event next year? Probably.
It's coming. Let's put it that way. Right.
BW, are dimensions in the same space as we are?
Yes, absolutely. We're on top of one another. You're in the same space.
Okay. Nicholas Snyder, you've been asking about, I heard about Nordic woman coming down to Earth and hooking up with some dude. I wish this would happen to me. What are the chances? I want to summon a Nordic woman. And you asked how you can do it. Well, you can through meditation. Consciousness is the way. If it's meant to be, it will. If you have a connection with them, who knows? It could happen. Ultimately, we all have our own pathways towards contact. So yeah, meditate on it and who knows? Okay, Simon Domville Musters. Preston, Dolly, what is your take on crop circles? 20 seconds, Dolly?
90% of them are real. ETs are real good at them, and they can put one down in seconds. They plan them. There's sometimes their answers to questions scientists have. They put them out there, and they give them an answer. They're real. Yep.
Yep, I agree. And you can tell. I mean, they've scientifically proven it.
Yeah.
Question from Taville. Question, if you have an awakening to your past lives and astral... Oh, we already answered this. No, you will remember.
Right.
Okay. Preston, are you a MUFON field investigator still? Technically, yeah. I've got my card. I pay my dues. I took the test. I missed 2 questions out of a couple of hundred. I did really well. I don't actively work with MUFON. I do still speak at local groups and occasionally for the main group. But I'm pretty much an independent guy at this point. But yeah. Okay. Nicholas is asking again, is there any way to summon an alien? Please answer. Yes, through meditation. Honestly, that is the best way.
Great.
Okay. What else do we got here? Here is a question from Pierre B. Not sure if you've already answered this, but in your experience, what is the best way to identify and protect yourself from negative entities? Does saying the name of Jesus help?
Well, only if it gives you power. Yeah. Negative, anything negative is not going to tell you the truth. And if you're using your abilities, you'll hear the lie. Okay. You'll feel that it's negative. When I see auras, I can tell if you're negative just by looking at your aura. And all you have to do is ask 3 little questions. Are you telling me the truth? Who are you? I need to know. And then the third one is, do you plan to do me harm? Because when you're psychic and you're hearing them psychically, they can't lie to you. You'll hear the truth. And if it's anything bad, you need to shut it down. Turn it off, get it away from you, walk away, you're done. Bye-bye, see you, woo-woo, no more. And that's how you protect yourself from it. You can exert energy that will push anything negative way the heck away from you, but you have to know how to make that energy happen. And basically the way I do it is I just get pissed off at it. It's like, nope, I see it gone. I'm about to kick you in the butt. See ya. And they leave and they don't come near me anymore anyway. So yeah, you have the power to repel anything. But if you let it in without knowing what it is, you're going to have a little harder time doing it. So be wary up front. Think about it. Okay, right.
Okay, I think we've just got a few more questions here, and really we don't have time to answer them, but let's do at least this one. Central Wisconsin, when ET moves us to another planet during transport, will ET help cure the sick? And this has got to be our last question because we have 3 minutes.
They are going to do a lot of healing. They're not going to transport you unable to survive. They will make sure that you can. Absolutely, yes. They will be given that advantage. So, but try to get it together for yourself before they get here. Be ready for them. Survive, because you don't realize that there's a huge calamity about to happen, and you have to be here when they come. And there are forces here who don't want you to be. So think about that. All right. We have all of us choices to make about all this. We have to decide how we're going to respond to this. It's critical for all of us. And if you're going to respond in a positive way and want to be available, be ready. That's what I'm telling you to do. Okay.
All right. Yes, we will be doing more Q&As, Bedlamites. So I'm glad you could join us tonight. And last question, is telepathy between different races easy for them? Yes. Telepathy has no range and starts blocking their own thoughts. ETs, I think, are in full communication with each other.
Right. I want you to understand something. Everybody's a human on this planet. Everybody. That is our race. We all have the same equipment and the same abilities. ETs are humanoid like we are. We are Homo sapiens sapien. They're Homo sapien a little bit different, but not much. We all have the same brain configuration. We all have the same glandular systems. We all have everything the same. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth. We all procreate. We all have the same types of blood. We're the same. And it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be psychic, just as psychic as any other entity in this entire universe. Please stop separating yourself. We are not separate at all.
Say hello.
Hey, there's Duchess.
Duchess says hello to everybody. She's a horse.
Yep, 130 pounds.
All right, you guys, that is our show tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. And you guys, I want to give a special shout out to Namaste and W. Decker and Rod Matsui and Anya Short. You guys are just absolutely awesome. One Bad Cat and Rick Schatz and Allison Carr. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am just absolutely humbled. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You are the best. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Yes. All right.
And I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope that the weather is good for y'all. And if it's not, please be safe. Respect the CME. If there's a big one coming and you know about it, stay in your house. Stay under a metal roof if you can, or get a Faraday blanket. Protect yourselves while they're active, because they can hurt you a little bit. And I want you to all be strong, all be loved, and all be wonderful. Thank you very much for watching our show. We came to you live tonight from the beautiful city of New Orleans at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We have wonderful producers. We love them very much. They work very hard for us, and it shows. Thank you all so much, and good night. Love you.
Love you guys. See you next week.